What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Awakening World. I'm Love Coach Scott Thomas. I'm your host, and we've got a really special show tonight. One of our great, wonderful, longtime members is the wonderful Reverend Jeffrey Colbrook. You have seen him moving and grooving and dancing. He's always one of the people right up there with Eleanor Joy leading our dancing. But there's more to his dance moves, to this human being. He is a respected and beloved member of multiple communities, Global Peace Tribe, but also the International Space Federation. And so, Jeffrey, please make sure you unmute, because in a moment, I'm going to introduce you so that you could introduce a little bit more about tonight. But I also want to introduce our co-host. I'll have Jeffrey add a few words in a moment. It's Lee Kempter, and Lee is back. You saw her previously when she was with us with the wonderful book that she wrote. But Jeffrey, I'm going to let you do the honors and tell our audience a little bit more about Lee.
Well, first of all, thank you, Scott and Omar, and even Jerry Anderson for your help and your advice. It was very useful. This is amazing. Here we are. I can't believe, I have to pinch myself to believe this is real. I don't know how this all came together, but it was absolutely wonderful. And, when we found out Nassim was going to come to America and be in LA doing on the 14th of September, I said to Scott, can we come on and spread the word, because this is amazing. And he was so wonderful. And we got here. And since he's at Burning Man and couldn't be here himself, we got our team of members together so that we could help share a little bit more about what's happening with the International Space Federation, what it means to each of us individually. And of course, we're excited to have Lee Kempter back as our co-host. She has a giant of a heart and giant of a mind. And of course, she loves looking and studying the giants of our past. And so, I just love this woman. She's amazing. And we're so thankful that all the work she's done to bring this show together. So I'll turn it over to Lee as the co-host for tonight. Thank you, Lee.
Great. And by the way, we are going to stay with the agenda and go to Music with Omashar in a moment. But Lee, go ahead and tell us briefly just a little bit about tonight's show and what is the International Space Federation. What is this organization?
Yeah, and I think there's probably a lot of people in this community who have heard of Nassim Haramein, because he's been around for decades doing educational work. He has tons of YouTubes, and he kind of speaks to our hearts because he talks about spirituality and science at the same time. But his background, the main thing about him is he is a physicist. He is a they talk about computer geeks and science geeks. He is definitely that. He loves mathematics and he loves geometry. So he brings in the science, but he's a curious wild man as well. And I think that part of him that's both is what attracted the people that you're going to hear from tonight. We all love that bridge between science and spirituality. The International Space Federation is his organization that creates prototypes for free energy, for craft that'll go out into the cosmos without jet propulsion. I mean, like he's doing all kind of incredible things like that. So we call it International Space Federation, but it's really the work of Nassim in the field of unified physics and unified field theory. So that's what you're really going to hear more about, but we're bringing it down to our own personal work in the world and how we live it in everyday life, because that's also one of the things that we all love about Nassim and everybody in his faculty. They don't just use this brainy stuff so they can write a bunch of formulas and throw out a bunch of geometry. These guys love to live in a multidimensional field. So that's what we're going to be talking about more about in general. We'll get more specifics in a minute, but I'm getting kind of antsy for some music. How about you, Scott?
Absolutely. So we're going to go to our beloved Omar Shah, who is the man. Welcome, Omar Shah.
Are we ready?
We are.
Ground control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom. Take your protein pills and put your helmet on. Ground control to Major Tom. Commencing countdown, engines on. Check ignition and may God's love be with you. This is ground control to Major Tom. You've really made the grade, and the papers want to know whose shirts you wear. Now it's time to leave the capsule if you dare. This is Major Tom to ground control. I'm stepping through the door, and I'm floating in the most peculiar way. And the stars look very different today. For here am I sitting in a tin can, far above the world. Planet Earth is blue and there's nothing I can do. Though I'm past 100 million miles, I'm feeling very still. And I think my spaceship knows which ways to go. Tell my wife I love her very much, she knows. Ground control, you're Major Tom, your circuit's dead, there's something wrong. Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom? 'Cause here am I sitting in a tin can, far above the moon. I can do.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Big. Omashar, you have totally outdone yourself this time.
Thank Mr. Bowie.
You know, I'm gonna be honest. We've all heard that song 1,000 times. I like your version better. The only thing he had going was the rocket ships taking off. That's
I know the rocket ships. Well, I only learned that 3 hours ago. And this morning, this morning I was, what am I going to play tonight? And it said, play me. And so I learned it in about 3 hours. And next time you hear it, it'll be even more fancy. But anyway,
you did. That was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I'm going to go to gallery view one more time. Let's just give him a big Global Peace Tribe twinkle. Because that, did you guys get chills? I got chills the moment he started playing it. I realized what he was doing. It was amazing. Hey, this is a good time also while we're all on an Omashar high to remember that we can support this wonderful man and support ourselves. Have a great music experience by going to omashar.bandcamp.com, where these 5 albums live. And I tell you, you got to put the cover of that song on your next album, because that was
maybe not. These are Global Peace Tribe specials, so there we are.
well, I feel honored that we got a chance to hear it. That was great. Thank you so much. Yeah. All right. Well, I am going to go back to Lee and Jeffrey. And just so excited to have both of you here with us. And I think you've got some wonderful things to share with our audience. So take it away.
Okay, thank you. Well, we're talking about basically bringing spirituality and science together. So actually, I can do that with one word. And that word is infinity. Of course, you know, we and the spiritual end love the concepts infinities as we go deeper within. And it's part of, most everyone here has had the awakening experience to go deeper and have an experience that was infinite in nature. Now we want to figure out how science can align with the understanding of what infinity is. And that's where the new science, the unified science of Nassim Haramein brings us to the place. So here's a little short, I'll give you a short study. I'm going to keep this science at about the 6th grade level, like I'm talking to a 6th grade high science teacher. So one of the things, you know, that when I started, I decided I wanted to find out what was going on in this world of science and the quantum stuff and Brian Greene and string theory. And what I found is it was a disaster. Their science was not working. The theories were not fine. It was a catastrophe, basically. So I'm at Unity Church in the fellowship hall, and someone says, "Hey, you might want to check out Nassim Haramein." And so I did, and it was love at first video. I mean, I could not believe what the highs I was getting over the aha moments that he was bringing. It was simplicity of understanding of the natures that somehow it escaped science. Now, of course, you have to realize science, the old side hates infinities. They don't like them. Their formulas. They don't like to deal with them. They just don't want to see them and yet it's an integral part of the nature of reality. So when I started realizing, you know, how did Nassim's theory, now, of course, I'm basically, what is science? Well, our first understanding science is simple. You know, you have an idea, you turn it into a theory, you write it up a little bit, and then you do experiments. And then if the experiments confirm it, voila, you've got new science. Like Einstein, you know, our dear friend Einstein. He came up with a new idea. Space and time were relative. and space could be bent. So then they did an experiment. They had the eclipse, and they saw the sun light bent around the sun. Voila! Hail Einstein, he was right. His ideas were experimentally verified. So that's basically science. So what happened? Where did science go wrong? So when I was studying, how could their theories be so wrong? A catastrophe. Matter of fact, one of the things, they had big science and little science, and what in their theory, their math came out to be 144 zeros wrong. The number was that far wrong. You don't get extra credit for that. That's like the universe flunking you for your theory when you have a number that comes up in your theory that's 144 zeros in it. That's wrong. Anyhow, so they couldn't solve for the big and the small. And I was watching how beautifully Nassim's theory went over and over, just fixed all these wonderful issues that science was having problem with. One of the very simple things, like, that they were missing, like how to do math, that you can't use 2D math. He said everything is like spheres. The sun's a sphere, the earth's a sphere, the planets are spheres, there's apples, oranges, everything's a sphere. Why they were using little string things when everything's a sphere? So then he figured out, and also they forgot something else that my 6th grade science teacher noticed, that everything spins. So in the theories, the relativity, they left out spin. So very important if you're going to try to come up with a good theory, to have spin. So he took these ideas at spin and the fact that everything was spherical and in all sizes, and he looked at what Max Planck had figured out. Now, Max Planck had this, the spheres are small to big, and Max had the smallest ones, the teeniest ones that make up all space. And he figured out how many of those could be inside a proton, since the whole universe is made up of protons. Voila, he came up with, how big the proton had to be. And he put it in his theory. So, voila, but it wasn't what the standard science said. But then, experimentally, it was verified. He was right. So his theory was right. Yet, and here we all thought, wow, this is incredible. Finally, we have a science that works, and Nobel Prize, and hail to the scientists and everything. But it didn't quite happen that way. But he went on to figure out, for the other thing they missed was 95% of the universe, black holes, black matter. They didn't have a clue. And they did. Nassim, of course, was one of the first to predict black holes in the center of every galaxy. Well, again, prediction, and then they find them. And of course, they didn't have spin, so they thought black holes only sucked everything in. Well, they spin, and they help create the universe. They put out creation from the source. So what we're talking about is how, and what we finally come up with, of course, you have all this beautiful new theory that works, that's accurate, that's 100% cool. And he continued finding out the periodic table. Everything started coming together beautifully into the puzzle became absolutely, you get these aha moments, and it's so beautiful to see this come together. When you can think, and again, one of the interesting things about that proton, when they handed up those little spheres that were in there, it's exactly named spheres. It's a number of protons in the universe. Now that gets some fun meditation when you start thinking stuff like that. So when you get to meditate on the fact that the zillions of protons in us have enough information that it's a number of protons in the whole universe. Tell me that's not like exciting to be meditating on. So he continued using this beautiful theory that worked all the way to the holy grail of science, which is unification of all the forces of nature. Gravity, mass, electromagnetism, all coming from the one source. Just like the song says in the beginning here, we all come from that one source. And that's what's, so wow, where's science? But God, they get lost. And they just can't seem to accept the fact of infinities. So when Nassim saw both the fact that there was infinity in the small science theory and infinity in the big, the singularity, they connected. So that's the common denominator. Wallah takes care of the big problem, the catastrophe, solves for that. So one after other, we get to watch him solve for these problems with science and wondering when is the rest of the science is going to catch on and figure out that's what's happening. And so that's why we're so excited to support Nassim and his work. And when we found out you guys have an opportunity to actually see him in LA on the 14th of September, we were extremely excited to be able to come here, share a little bit about the amazing science that he's bringing, and give everyone an opportunity to participate and help that. Because guess what? Once you figure out the source that comes out and creates the universe, which is always moving into a higher order of coherence, getting more intelligent, then the purpose of it, or the place it comes to, as we can tap in back to that source which creates us. And that's what's exciting. The source of everything is available. And just like, this is the science of the universe. Just like other sentient beings throughout the universe have already figured out this science and are now able to use that source to travel, use gravity control, and have a wonderful thing. This is our opportunity. Mother Earth is birthing this intelligence now, right here, so that we too can learn how to use the very source of our creation to control gravity, to have all the energy we need, and become part of the galactic community that has figured this out. And that's why I feel that it's the most important of all things, that we need to support this science, Nassim, as spiritual folks who have an easier time with infinities than regular science, because that is what connects Nassim science and spirituality, is our infinity. Both our affinity, we're all infinite beings. So that's all I got to say about that. I just want to say one last thing. There's only one book out there that you can study the science. It's Marshall Leffer's book, Cosmometry. So there is a book. They're coming out with a book real soon. And I'm just so excited that to be part of this, and thank everyone for coming. So back to you guys. Thank you, and bless everyone here.
Reverend Jeffrey, thank you so much. And it's been your love and your passion that made tonight's show happen, bringing all of your friends from the ISF in. And we love you very much. And I want to take people to a couple of important websites. First of all, I've put into the chat box again, anybody who can get down to Los Angeles, September 14th, that's coming up just a couple of weeks. And there's a special code just for us, just for the Awakening World audience. And that promo code is the letters ISF, which of course stands for International Space Federation, ISF Community 20, ISF Community 20. And to learn more about the ISF and to get your tickets, go to spacefed.com. There it is right there, the Nature of Reality tour. That's, so if you click where it says secure your spot, that'll take you in. And there it is, just click secure your spot. That takes you into the Nature of Reality tour. You can get more details about it, get your tickets. Now, I know that you'll see that everything had sold out in April, but here's what we're talking about right here. Saturday, September 14th in Los Angeles. And then when you go to buy it, just put in your promo code. So this is really an important opportunity for anybody who can get down to Southern California in Los Angeles, September 14th. And I'm imagining some of the people who are going to meet tonight are going to be there. And I'm going to use that to bring up Lee, who many of you might remember. Lee was on our show before, and she wrote a wonderful book. And I think some of you bought it. So if any of you bought the book and have read it, put in comments in the chat box, Tethered to the Cosmos. And it combines esoteric mysteries, cutting edge science. It's a highly provocative first part of a trilogy exploring humanity's opportunity to embrace the amazing quantum potential. It's a very powerful book. And Lee, it's great to have you back with us. And now you're back as a co-host. So thank you for that.
Yeah, this is going to be a great night. And part of it is because of the people who are here. I think you'll get to see that you'll feel like they're your brothers and sisters. That's the way that I've interacted with the people that I've met through the ISF membership site, which is how I got to know these people. Let me back up just a little bit, because some people maybe may not remember my book so much, just to remind you that what I write about is characters in this particular trilogy. It's characters that are moving from 2020 to 2045, looking at their own evolution. Now, it's a novel, so each character has their own things going on in their lives, and there's tension and there's stuff going on in the world, but they have something in common. They collaborate with each other unquestionably, or support each other. And they're insatiably curious about the unseen realms. The book opens with two giants that are looking at the earth and talking about what's going on. I've had people that said that when they read the first two chapters, this happened several times, they said they got dizzy. And what they realized later was that we're so used to having everything in a box and understanding it and knowing it, that sometimes when something new comes along, our whole physiology, our brain, our thinking process kind of doesn't know what to do. So I appreciate that. And I know, though, the people here are used to looking at unseen realms. You meditate, you have spiritual practices, you have ways that you interact. I've seen everything here from shamanism. Some people do Buddhist practices, yogic practices, Christian mysticism and Jewish mysticism, and the list goes on and on and on. The roots of all of that are unseen. You can't grab it. And so tonight you're going to meet people that don't try to put anything in a box. They're open-hearted, they're open-minded. And as I wrote, and as I share my book with other people and hear what they have to say about unseen realms, I'm getting excited, because just like everybody that's here tonight, we're getting way more comfortable about the quantum field. We don't mind that Jeffrey just went on and on about protons and cosmic stuff. And some of the stuff we may not understand, but we don't brush it away anymore. And that's what gives me so much hope for the future. So as my characters move forward, there's a word I want to share with you tonight that's in my books. And it's one of the #1 questions I get in emails. And it's, did you make up the word? The word is unicity. And unicity, I didn't make it up. It's just that I love to use it, because it's the state and condition of being and feeling and experiencing unification. So in my books, I'm talking about a progression of our genetic sequence, where we begin to actually express the unicity gene. We express being unified in every moment. And we're capable of that, but these characters have to figure out, how do you do that? And they get a little help from some friends. that may not be from their local neighborhood or even from their planet. But they seek this and know that unicity, this state, again, or condition of being unified, is the ultimate piece that we've been missing in our human evolution to take it higher. Well, here's how ISF comes in. Scott, are you able to pull up the website again?
Sure can.
Yeah. So pull up that website.
All right, here we go.
And we're on the home page.
Let me go back to the home page because I was on the tickets. There we go.
Okay, so notice on the top bar, you're going to see Science News. If you click on Science News, you'll see all kind of things, you know, that they have different things, but go to Science News, but click under the drop down, the physics, astronomy, all that stuff, drop down to other, go all the way to the bottom to other. Here's what's helped me in writing my books. And one of the things I want to talk about tonight, that whether you join as a member or you have access to the site, look at what Nassim and his faculty are looking at. UAPs. Keep scrolling, Scott. You're going to see some other things that we all love here. Consciousness studies. Bolivian Amazon forest, and they're looking at that. They're looking at geometries in nature, how education shapes our creativity. We're looking at what is creativity for the human race. And if you keep scrolling, you keep seeing these things that I think a lot of people in this community are interested in. So if you go to the bottom, yeah, so we go on and on and on. So, but come back up, Scott, and click on one that has to do with consciousness. See if we can find one on consciousness.
Oh, just one of the articles?
Yeah, you'll find one that'll say, yeah, Pioneer Dr. Jacob Grinberg. Okay, this is what I want to tell you guys about. So I'm writing this book. For some reason in meditation and these lucid dreams, I get all these understandings about biology, and I have no background in biology at all. So because I'm part of the membership group, we have a Q&A once a month. I read this article, and if you scroll down, Scott, keep scrolling. You're going to see this is kind of a long article, and she's given us all this data, and she's talking about, this is one of the faculty, and she explained all this. So I went to other consciousness studies in the back. You can keep scrolling and scrolling. So I took in, you can tell, a lot of data. And because I'm not a biophysicist, I didn't really understand the full complexities and how does this figure into how we're all entangled? What is this consciousness that this man's talking about, and the other papers? How does this fit together? So I asked a couple of questions. I even went to some of her references. And what you'll see is, and if you keep going, so it'll say you might also like, down here below, I went through some of those. Okay, so the bottom line is, when I finished, okay, we can come back from the website. So what I looked at, I said, okay, let me see if I can ask a question of the faculty. They spent 40 minutes explaining to all of us the nature of consciousness. They told us, they brought in studies, they explained it all. But the bottom line for me when it was over is I understood my consciousness. And what I really understood that was very important, and I want you to feel into this tonight, when they explained consciousness from their perspective at a subatomic anatomic level, they were teaching me things and saying things that I was not able to process with my left brain, because they were talking about everything in me being entangled to everything else. They were talking about things that go into multi-dimensional fields, which we do in meditation or when we just sit quietly. So when they were talking to me, at the end, one of them said, they said, do you realize every microtubule within the subcellular level of my being was taking in information from the entire field, not from the speakers alone. All the information about consciousness, this is just giving me chills. It was all pouring into me. And so when it was over, I literally had to lie down for about 15 minutes and absorb it. That's the powerful, it's the powerful information that I think that Nassim brings to his membership, that he wants people who are really interested in this to get to go deeper into it. And so for me, it's more than a bunch of science geeky information about the, mathematical formulas and all of that. They really help us understand our biology. So they have a biophysicist. And he's the one, when I asked him, so I'll share you guys this little secret. I asked him, I said, am I on or off with this unicity thing? And he said, no, spot on. I said, so we can evolve very quickly as a species. So my characters are saying this, but is it true? This has been about a year ago. He spent about 30 minutes explaining neurologically how we have special neuronal cells in our brain that have a crystalline structure, which is different than the other cells in our body, and what that does and how it communicates with the field and how that affects the hormonal system and how that affects, then moves into the genes, the RNA. And pretty soon, as Jeffrey said, voila, we have this experience and begin to embody unification within our DNA. It holds that memory. And it's wanting to pull it in and open it up from the cosmos in every millisecond. And all we have to do is open ourselves up more to the experience and allow the experience to come in. So tonight, what I'm excited to do is I get to introduce you to really special people that I met through the membership site, because in the membership, we get to do several things. These Q&As with the faculty I mentioned. We also have a Facebook group, but we also have breakout groups. So once a month, we come into Zoom and we meet in small groups and we can talk about anything. So we could talk about, I could tell them that I just went to see these megaliths, and we talk about megaliths and how, and solstices and equinoxes. We could talk about physics because some of the people are engineers, and I'm fascinated to know the work they do, the studies that they're performing. There's all kind of different people here. So we have that aspect. The people that are here tonight are people that we've just come together, and we have a special friendship that we've developed. I don't even think any of us know what kind of religion we practice or politics or anything else. Our common bond is a love for consciousness as it expands into infinity and the feeling and experience of unification. So it's interesting when Jeffrey was talking about all the geometries. Tonight, you're going to get really practical stuff. You're going to really be able to have things you can use to get into this multi-dimensional side of yourself. It's always there, but you can now just let it flow a little bit more, let a little bit more in. So little things like that I use, like I started doing this thing with a friend. Every time we heard something that we didn't like, or we saw something ourselves we didn't like, we'll create a little vortex. We make 4 circles and then 1 back, because we know that through Nassim that the vortexes don't just move one way. They actually are bi-directional. So we make our little vortex. All we do, and you can try this, is make your little vortex and then close your eyes, let that settle and feel it in the body, embody it. And when you open your eyes, just be still for a minute. Be in that still point. I wanted to start us from that place of swirling around and feeling the center, because from there, that sets the stage for everything else that you're going to hear tonight. And Scott didn't just say this is going to be a great night for nothing, because this is going to be a really, really great night. So Scott, do you have anything else to say before I bring on our first or my
Yeah,
next?
I want to read a few comments from our audience
Okay,
because I
great.
really want to engage them. Then we can bring on Luke after that. Um, and there's some really fun photos, but Dia Therese writes, I wept into light when Nassim showed mathematically that we, the human beings, are smack dab in the center of the scale that extends to the microcosm and macrocosm. Pardon my odd paraphrasing, but I'm listening to the speaker. Namaste. And then Dr. Cat, who we're going to meet soon, right? I know. I felt the same. It made my hair stand up with joy. And Carol writes, Carol's one of our regulars. She's a teacher, writes, I had that experience while playing with these crystals at a conference with Nassim. This took my teaching of physics and chemistry to a whole nother level. And here's the photograph that Carol put in to the chat box. And then one of our other people, Susan, wrote that her sister is in that photograph. So it's kind of a small world. And I just wanted to include just a few of the comments coming in because our audience, I think, is really relating beautifully to the show so far. And now I'll let you introduce Luke.
Okay. So in the membership site within these meetings that we have in these breakout groups, I got to meet Luke, and it's Ashambal. He's French. I hope I did that okay, Luke. So when I met Luke, he is you can see that there's something he's wearing that means the world to him. And so in many of our conversations, we've talked about this technology that Nassim created. In fact, just one of the first things he ever put out that regular people like us could look at. I mean, a lot of this stuff he's doing are prototypes to take us out into the cosmos, but this takes us out into the cosmos. It's just that it's taking us out in the cosmos through our awareness. So Luke had said that he told us that he had been interested in spirituality for a long time, but it was like when Nassim came in with the science and helped him understand, okay, there is this new science. It's a cutting edge way of really looking at the world from this unified field theory that brought the wisdom traditions together with that and solidified all the things he knew all along. And I think a lot of us have had that experience, like, I knew that. I always felt that. And now somebody's confirmed it. So I'm going to now let Luke take it over and talk to you about this beautiful pendant that he has on it. It's called an arc, spelled with a K, an arc crystal. So Luke, take it away.
Here we go. Thank you for the introduction, Lee. Very well done. And yes, this little thing here is called an arc crystal. And ARC has nothing to do with Noah's Ark. It's ARC stands for Advanced Resonance Kinetics. And first I'd like to say, well, when I got it and when it was launched in 2017, was really looking forward to get it. And one thing I noticed with time, well, it's a health promoter. For 3 years, I never even had a cold. I've always been blessed with a good health, but for 3 years, I didn't even have a cold. And I also did some experiments with plants to see the effect on plants. And I'll share also some studies that were done by ISF or by Toristech. Toristech is the organization within ISF that works on the development of the arc crystal. The arc crystal is the fruit of 30 years of research by Nassim, and it's quite a feat. It's the first technology that what it does actually, it resonates. I'll share the screen for a few things. Here we go. Okay. Oh, sorry. Right. So what it does, it couples with the quantum field to harness and allow optimal access to quantum energy. It builds a link between the crystal and the unified field to funnel energy and it exchanges energy from the field to yourself, and it promotes vitality, mental clarity, and it has effects. The way I use it is during the night. During the day I wear it on my body, and during the night you put it under a container of water, and it changes the structure of the water. And this is sorry. I'm a little bit nervous.
You're doing great, Luke.
I'll show you the effect on the plants first. Back here. Well, first, what it does to the water, the effect on the water is it augments it. Two big words here. It reduces the impedance, which is the resistance in the water, and therefore it augments the conductivity of the water. That means that the water is we're made of water, okay? We're made of 70% of water, but actually as far as cells, the number of molecules we have, the molecules are 99.8% of the molecules in your body are water molecules. So we're literally made of water. It's because they're very small that there's so many. And the purpose of the water is to conduct energy throughout the body. And the more the electricity and the current goes through the body, through the molecules, the better health you have. Rupture in health is when energy doesn't circulate so well. So we see that the effect on the water of the arc, if you look at on the left, this is for the resistant, how the water would resist and not resist the passage of the water. To the left is arc water, and to the right is regular water. So there's more resistance in the orange, which is normal water, than in the arc treated water. And on the right, you see the conductivity, which is the inverse. You see the arc test group. There's more conductivity. The energy circulates better on the with the arc treated water, much better, like 48.9%. And that explains the effect of water on the plants. Here on plants, what has been observed with the tests that were made by ISF and Georgia Tech is it decrements the growth density of the plants. That's when you use arc-treated water to water your plants or your seeds when you sprout seeds. So there's an augmentation of growth density, in growth rate, in seed viability. There's more seed that will sprout. Pathogen resistance, be it fungus or disease, they're more resistant. And it augments the phytonutrient concentration. We'll see it visually here. Here, this is, whoops, sorry.
Luke, if
Yes.
possible, if you could close whatever else is on your desktop, because it causes kind of gray boxes and we don't see everything you're showing us.
Okay. Let me just stop sharing. I'll do my cleanup.
Yeah, just clean up a little bit. And you're doing great. We're really enjoying what you're sharing.
Yeah.
And while you're cleaning up, I'll read a couple more comments from our audience. Carol writes, the water concept goes hand in hand with Masaru Emoto's work with water energy.
Mm-hmm.
Your colleague, Dr. Kat Lewis, said that the YouTube series that he did in 2010 in Cognos is extraordinary as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is really something to see. Oops. Sorry.
You're doing great.
I just goofed. I closed the wrong one. I need it. Just give me a minute.
Yeah, it's interesting to know that when Nassim was working with this, And you see the apparatus that he used to create the art crystal. It looks like something to, when I first saw it, I thought that's creating an art crystal. It looks like something from a school project. It just looks like there's all these pieces and chambers and all this stuff. And yet this crystal comes out. And he told the story of like he wasn't sure what was going to come out of the machine. Like once the machine did its magic and created the crystal, what was going to be like. And he was saying it literally almost made him unconscious. It was so powerful when it came out. So it doesn't surprise me if it hit somebody like him that hard. And he knew exactly what it was. And somebody else who came into into the doorway of the lab felt the same thing. It was a visceral experience of what this technology was now emanating from what looks like this beautiful little crystalline structure. So anyway, back to you.
You know, I'll follow up on that for a quick moment. Mark Janisovsky, and Mark, if you want to share the story, give me a thumbs up. I'll put you on camera. Otherwise, okay, great. Here we go. Mark has a great story to read. Hang on one second, Luke. We're going to hear it briefly before we go. And we're still seeing gray boxes, by the way.
I have to go to the...
So if you could close your screen share for a moment.
Okay.
If you could stop your screen share, Luke.
Yes, I'm doing it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I'm going to turn over to Mark for a moment while you continue to clean up your desktop and get it ready. Hey, Mark, tell us your story.
Well, I'll be brief. When I first bought my first crystal, after following Nassim for many years, a couple days after I got it, I wore it to my job as a musical director at Vision Center for Spiritual Living. So I had it on like this. And as I walked up, the soloist, who is this incredibly beautiful singer named Peggy Lebo, she walked up to me and she excitedly said, "What is that?" She pointed to it and I said, "Why do you ask?" And she said, "It's humming." And then she said, and then right away I thought, okay, there's my confirmation. You know, I spent the money. I'm a musician. It was a bit of an investment. And I thought, I knew that it was the real deal. Then she said, I asked her what it sounded like. And she said, it sounded like a strong bass fundamental tone with other harmonic frequencies creating essentially a beautiful sustained chord. Then she said, it sounds like Om. In deep meditations, she's affiliated and she's an Encinitas here, meditating, you know, Kriya, she has heard Om and she said, it sounds like Om. So I charge my water with it. I wound up buying other ones. And now when I have people that I love, I just realize they have to have the water. So I've developed a habit of giving people these crystals. So I know you want to all be my friend right now, but
well, we always want to be your friend anywhere, Mark.
Yes. So that's the story. It's this thing rings. I've talked. The minister at my church said she can feel it in her mouth when I walk up. Especially another person at the church bought one, and when the minister, Reverend Patty Paris, comes up, she says, "I can feel it." She actually feels it. So it's the real deal. And plants work incredibly well. And, you know, just having it hanging over your heart, I just feel like your blood supply is getting continuous exposure to this resonant frequency that is in harmony with the background energy of the universe, the generative energy of creation. So, and I know that that's what Nassim worked on for forever. So I can't imagine what it's like to be around that 256 crystal structure. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Mark. All right. Luke, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. Take it away, partner.
Yeah. Here I can continue my share screen.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mark. That was really moving. And Interesting. Last week I had the same reaction from somebody who saw the arc crystal in my neck, and she was just attracted by it. And so anyway, when I got it, I wanted to do some my own experiments, and here's the results. Here we see I had some wheatgrass, the same quantity of seeds, and the ones on the left, I had watered them with arc water, and the control is on the right to see far more seeds that sprouted. And then with the growth, you can see to the left the ones that were watered with the arc crystal, and the control to the right, you see more density. And you see here from the horizontal, you see they're already taller on the left side with the arc water than on the right side. I was curious to see what was happening on there, and my containers were transparent, so you see the roots in the arc water sample versus the control. And a little later, that's what the roots look like. This thing has a huge potential in agriculture, I would say. Here, there's some more experiments that were done, these ones by Doris Tech and ISF. Here you have the degree at the left. It's for the effect on the stalk length. You see the control here, and here it's with watered. The water was passed over one arc to feed the plant. Here they used 8 arc crystals on the gray, and on the orange they used 16. So you see there's a difference with the number of arc crystals involved, and it's proportional to the number of arc involved. And here it's like the percent from control. So that's just confirms the picture that we just saw with the length of the stalks. Here they were experimenting with radish. You see the fruit, the radish. Here you see the control to the left, and here the crystal, the one that was watered with the arc crystal. They saw that there was a greater fruiting body production by an average of 218% in weight. So you get bigger, and you get more seeds also. Here again with radish, you see that to the left, the number of seeds produced with the control versus the number produced with the crystal watered plants. Here, now you see the content, you see the phytonutrient concentration, mainly the chlorophyll in the plant. So you see the control here, and the one with the crystal in lighter gray. The difference in average was about 35% more chlorophyll. So you can assume all the nutrients of the plant follow the same. So it's not only bigger, better, more resistant, but it's more nutritional. I'm saying it's got huge potential with agriculture. Now we'll see the effect on human people. They did a test with 10 people, 5 men, 5 women, and they were healthy people aged 31 to 69. So they heard a placebo, they wore a placebo crystal for 3 weeks. Then they took a control, and then for another 3 weeks, they were wearing a real pendant with a real arc crystal in it. So for the first 3 weeks, it served as a control, and the second 3 weeks was the actual result with the arc crystal. So they used different parameters of health performance. Here we talk about processing speed. That was increased by 9.8% with the wearing the arc crystal. The psychomotor speed, like reflex and all that, was 15.2% better. The capacity of the brain and body to handle the stress was increased by 19.6%. The overall autonomic nervous system balance and function increased by 15.8%. Then the effectiveness of the brain to communicate with the body through the hormones, because the brain communicates to the body via hormones that send signals to the cells. That was improved by 18.5%. And finally, the self-reported energy level, like how people say that they feel energetically, and the overall vitality of the cells was increased by 46.6%. So that tells a lot. If you can bear with me, I'd like to try a description of how the crystal work to communicate, to pass on the energy from the field to the quartz itself. See, the art crystal is a very, very pure lab-grown crystal of quartz. Why is it lab-grown? It's because it has to be perfectly pure in order to do what it does. And naturally, quartz crystal would have small, minute imperfections, and that's the reason. And it's perfectly cut and polished in the shape of a tetrahedron, a four-sided pyramid, at Planck to proton scale. The scale is important in order to induce coupling with the quantum vacuum. Quantum vacuum is the energy structure of the universe. Then other things have tetrahedral shapes. Whoops, losing my...
Oh, that's because I brought it back to you, because we're still, I'd rather have people listening, seeing you as you're speaking.
Okay. All right. So I will not share. Oops. All right. Okay. Sorry for the dead time. So anyway, the water is H2O. It makes a tetrahedron. This the quartz, the molecule in the quartz, silicium, SiO2, is also a tetrahedron. So the same shape is in the quartz itself. This is the same shape as the molecules of water and the molecules of the quartz itself. And if you look at the structure of space, if you look at the flower of life, which is a famous symbol everybody knows, it represents the structure of the universe. So for the same shape allows a resonance between these different scales of manifestation, I would say. Think of the instrument of music, got the blank, a sitar. When the sitar player plays a string, you hear other strings getting activated at the same time. The same thing with tuning forks. Okay, so the same shape will resonate differently once you hit it. Therefore, the art crystal has a potential to communicate, but something has to make it resonate. And for this, it's a machine that was invented by Nassim Haramein. It's the harmonic flux resonator. And it creates a field, a toroidal field, that spins at extremely high velocity, to the point that in the center, there's a ball of plasma, and a little sun, it's a little star is created in the center when it spins. And the art crystals are placed on shelves around this machine. And it's that very high vibration that will resonate, make them resonate. It's like if you start a spinning top. So you start the energy in the art crystal by this machine after a 2-hour exposition, and then it spins forever. So and when it spins, it emits, it receives energy from the vacuum, and it emits this energy from the four corners of the crystal. So if you wear it, if you put it near water, it has a zone of influence of about 3 inches all around it, and it affects all the waters. the good thing is that it runs forever. Think of a magnet. A magnet is also something that connects, draws energy, is a over unity device because it drives it receives this energy. It's a magnet forever. Okay, so this is the same thing but forever, which means you wear it all your life. You give it to your children, to your other generation. It will continue to work. So it's a great investment, I would say. So so that's it, and it's on arcrystal.com if you want to see what it looks like, and the pendants and the different. There are some bottles also that you can use as container to charge the water.
I'm gonna
much.
go ahead and go to your website for a moment here. Here it is. Here is the website. And everybody, it's arcrystals.com. arcrystals.com. And yes, I'm going to allow you cookies. And it's a beautiful website. I've been kind of looking at it while you were chatting. And there's all sorts of wonderful things that you can get here. Thank you for helping to explain this extraordinary technology. And thank you, Mark, for kind of sharing your experience of it. And I'll turn it back over to Luke and Lee. Unless, is there anything on this website you'd like me to point people in the direction of?
The whole thing, there's some studies you can access to some of the tests that I was talking about, if you're more curious. And there are some, yeah, that's the machine, that's the resonator. I was going to show an animation that they made of the harmonic flux resonator. It lasts a minute and a half. If you'd like to see it, it's very beautiful. You see it in action while it's...
Sure, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So you see the dark crystals on the left. As a little star appears at the center of the resonator.
Thank
That's
you
it.
very much, Luke. Appreciate it so very, very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to continue on, but I think it is time, with all that we've heard, to get a little bit of music to integrate this amazing wisdom, and to integrate that incredible little gray tea that we all were watching at the top. We're going to sleep tonight, and that tea is going to come into our third eye and wake us all up. That's what I'm deciding it's all about. But to also help wake us up and keep us awake, I can't wait to see what Omashar's got next. Let's see what he's got planned.
so clear, and we know what has to be done. Still, we wonder why flowers keep on blooming, the stardust in our eyes lifts us all to a higher plane, a deeper truth, our rightful place, and still we wonder why. Life, a promise to fulfill. Now, a vision is revealed, and the blessing of who we really are can be felt throughout our world, and still we wonder why flowers keep on blooming, the stardust in our eyes lifts us all to a higher plane, a deeper truth, our rightful place, and still we wonder why. Lights brighter than the sun, here where life is one. All the past falls like rain into the soil of future dreams, and still we wonder why flowers keep on blooming, the stardust in our eyes lifts us all to a higher plane, a deeper truth, our rightful place, and still we wonder why.
Once again, let's give a big, beautiful twinkle. That's such a beautiful, beautiful song, Mama Shar.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a beautiful one.
Yes, in this exploratory evening, we still wonder why, which is great because that's our right brain going, come on, there's more.
That's right. Before we proceed, I was just read in the chat box, one of our most beloved community members is Dorina Joy. She always asks great questions and comes to us all the way from Ecuador. And she just informed us that her father, who she's very close to, who's in Bulgaria, is on the brink of dying. He's in the process of transitioning after a critical combination of advanced Parkinson's, pneumonia, and a stroke that he just had a few hours ago. Dorina Joy, if you can put his name into the chat box, because what I'm going to do is ask us to do a group prayer. So if you can hear me, just put his name into the chat box. Already, of course, so many of our people have been responding to her. Thank you, Carol, Susan, for responding so quickly. His name is Stoyan. So I'm going to go to Gallery View, and let's just all send maximum grace to Dorina Joy and her father and her family. Maximum grace for Stoyan on his transition, on a life well lived, And we know that at least one great gift he gave to this world was his daughter, Davina Joy. Maximum grace for her and for her heart at this time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. And Lee, I'm going to turn it back over to you to introduce our next guest.
Thank you. Oh, can you feel the beauty of that moment of prayer? How it's like, talk about a field. Wow. So that brings me to the next member of the ISF, who quickly became a friend. He goes by the name of Nama Esteras, which is a name that was given to him by a spiritual mentor. And Nama is a unique human being. He's a young guy raising kids and busy with his own business, where he is working with people to help them evolve and move out of this. These are my words. He didn't tell me this. This is how I observe what he does. He lifts people into a higher octave of who they are, and then they just can naturally then start to allow what you could call the 12 chakras or the energy centers to start to flow more beautifully. But he has a real gift in working with energy. And so he can probably explain to you better than I can as the maestro of this energy, as he works with it. But what I've observed is it's his beautiful heart that sets all that on fire. I would imagine he's a pretty darn good dad. He's a whole lot of fun, and I know you guys are going to really enjoy. So help me to welcome Nama.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the introduction, Lee. Well, since you went into the heart, I'll get right into it. The heart is actually the most important part of my teachings. And it's basically, just to put it in a nutshell, I created a platform called Age of 11, and unified physics is a very foundational set of information that allows Age of 11 to be even more possible to reach people, meaning me be able to speak to people that may not be on a level of spirituality or even comprehension or understanding personally about spirituality, connection to God, or even science. The heart, I'm going to show you a video soon. The heart is the most important thing in that. Also, I guess the motto would be being a guide for the awakened human being or the awakening human being. Because when we all start to expand our awareness and go inside or deep inside, or be more aware of things that are going on outside of us, our relationships, the dynamics we have in our life, we feel more isolated because we start to go away from the norm, and we don't have too many places to turn for information to relate to people, because not everybody's on that wavelength, at least around us. But realistically, there's millions and billions of people on that wavelength waking up right now. And that's what we're doing here, bringing people together like that. So I'm going to get into my story, but first I want to show you guys a video. So it'll give you a good foundation of what unified physics is and how it can connect. Oh, he's already got it. Okay.
I got it up for you.
All right.
Unified physics reveals the universe as an interconnected web of energy and information, where everything is intricately linked through the quantum fabric of reality. As we unravel the mechanics of the universe, we begin to touch the unseen, the mystical, the spiritual, bridging the gap to science. With this knowledge, we can unlock revolutionary technologies, such as limitless energy generation, gravitational control, and advanced healing methods that harness the very forces of nature. The universe is not made of separate independent parts, but is instead a continuous, interconnected field of energy and information. To help visualize this concept, imagine being immersed in a vast ocean of water. In reality, this ocean is composed of tiny fluctuating units called Planck spherical units, PSUs. These PSUs form a dynamic Planck plasma-like superfluid structure that behaves similar to a multidimensional foam. The patterns that emerge within this superfluid are shaped by constructive and destructive resonance, where the oscillations of PSUs either strengthen each other or cancel out. These oscillations are what we call quantum fluctuations, which generate the zero-point energy field, or ZPE, that permeates the entire universe. Consider this. In just 1 cubic centimeter of space, the size of a sugar cube, the zero-point energy density is about 9.89 times 10 to the 96th power kilograms per cubic meter. This tiny space has more energy than the output of our sun over trillions of years. The quantum vacuum contains an unimaginable amount of energy. The objects and forces we perceive are coherent structures within this ocean of energy, emerging from the dynamic coherence and resonance within the PSU superfluid. A proton can be thought of as a stable, crystalline structure within this ocean. When PSUs resonate constructively, they form the stable, coherent structure of the proton. When the proton forms as a coherent resonant geometric pattern of PSUs, a change in density creates a pressure gradient. The proton is stabilized by the immense pressure from the surrounding zero-point energy field. Just as pressure in the deep ocean compresses objects, the Planck plasma superfluid exerts a 360-degree pressure on the proton, keeping its form stable and coherent. The number of PSUs inside a proton's volume, around 10 to the 60th power, contains the equivalent mass energy of the observable universe. This reveals the holographic nature of the universe, where the information of the whole is encoded in every part. The collective coherence and concentrated energy density of the PSUs create a curvature in space-time, which results in the Planck plasma superfluid spiraling inward toward a center point, which we see as the proton. Imagine a proton as a coherent vortex within this ocean, similar to a whirlpool in water, where the spinning PSUs spiral inward from all directions. This is what we see as mass, all of the physical reality we live in. The inward flow of the superfluid toward the center, driven by space-time curvature, is what we experience as gravity. Each PSU in this ocean is not isolated but connected to every other PSU through a network of micro-wormholes, also known as Einstein-Rosen bridges. These wormholes are like tiny tunnels that link the PSUs across vast distances, creating a web with a feedback and feed-forward loop of instantaneous connections throughout the universe. A proton has approximately 4.33 times 10 to the 40th power micro-wormhole connections on its surface. That's 10 with 40 zeros behind it, linking it to every other proton throughout the universe. This vast network of micro-wormholes forms what is known as the Unified Space Memory Network. The Unified Space Memory Network is a cosmic web of memory, an information flux where every interaction, every oscillation of every proton is imprinted and shared. Consciousness is not an isolated phenomenon confined to the brain or biological systems, but is an intrinsic property of the space memory network itself. Our brains and our hearts, through their intricate networks of neurons, function as powerful nodes within the space memory network, actively processing, receiving, and transmitting vast streams of interconnected information through their non-local entanglement and quantum coherence across space-time, expressing the conscious awareness of the network itself. Unified physics isn't just a key to new technologies. It's a revelation of our true nature. It reminds us that we are not separate observers of the universe, but integral expressions of its endless flow. As we embrace this understanding, we awaken to a reality where science and spirituality are not distant realms, but one seamless journey, an unfolding truth that reconnects us to the heartbeat of the cosmos and to the infinite potential that lies within.
Wow. That was extraordinary. I'm going to get
Wow!
that was incredible. That was like the best video I've ever seen. I want to watch it over and over and over to comprehend it.
Yeah. It's,
Wow.
yeah, that's the type of content that is possible to produce now, especially, I mean, with technology going as far as it is, but the understanding to relate to people who've never talked about science, never talked about spirituality. There's now a language to do so in a grounded way. I'll give you guys a story about me and why this is my passion, and something like unified physics can really help me in my work. Since I was 5, well, before I was 5, most likely, but from when I remember when I was 5, I have dream premonitions. I know it sounds weird, maybe to some, maybe to not, but meaning I would have a dream, and a day later, a week later, whatever it may be, the first story was with my grandmother. I was telling her, hey, this happened in my dream. Like, this happened. I thought it was normal. I wanted to tell her, thinking she'd remember it with me somehow. But quickly, she listened to me. But as I went on and told it to other people as this happened, I quickly found out it doesn't happen consciously to a lot of people. And so that set me off, and it still happens to this day. So imagine growing up thinking about the past, the future, like that just happened, and how am I dreaming this? And seeing things like, wow, she's going to do that. In this moment, this happens. She's going to do this. He's going to say that. And I should say this. It got to the point where I started to play with it, meaning like, I know something, I'm supposed to say something here, but I'm actually not going to do it, and see what happens. And everything would break down. The whole construct of what happened in the dream would just change, and it'd be different. If you could imagine me as a kid thinking, wondering this, and then growing older, and then through my years, these things getting suppressed through teenage years, whatever, life. I didn't have the language for it, but that's thinking in a fifth dimensional perspective. As we just saw in the video, there's now science to prove that there's a connected, instantaneous network of every single piece of matter, material and non-material, in the universe. Meaning it transcends time. Time is an emergent property. And something that I've been, before unified physics, figuring out and coming to the conclusions of, feeling it. But it's really difficult to tell that to people in language, in the human language, to explain those things. And it seems so far out. And so many people have these type of experiences, maybe even more, just all types of different type of psychic experiences or intuitive feelings, all types of experiences. I was explaining it to people the best I can, and doing pretty good, without the language of unified physics. Now that unified physics is here, I'm able to look back on a lot of things that I've pondered and give them specific words and mechanics, and then extrapolate that still to these spiritual concepts that I learned deeply and felt deeply and could explain to people without unified physics. But it's still, they have to, they go on with their life and have to figure out a lot of the mechanics themselves. We're at a point where the time it takes people to comprehend what their reality is and what's really going on and go through an advanced or accelerated spiritual awakening, which is just an expansion of awareness, of data processing. You become more conscious because everything's already conscious anyway. You're just incorporating more of it. We can cut that time in half or help people understand things that people would have had to go a lifetime trying to understand. And it gives them so much more time to focus on how to create with that wisdom instead of figuring out what that is and how to not step on anybody else's toes because it's so different. But we're starting to come into a unified view. That's why this science, unified physics, is coming out, because I use the name Age of 11 because we're going through an awakening. 11 is symbolizes energetically. If you could go down to the coding of the universe, there's vibrational signatures and meaning of new processes, or I would like to say a tier, where you're starting on another level, incorporating more information. But we're at a point like that right now in our world, which is why unified physics is coming out to life, because us as a world, as a collective, are going to start to understand reality as it is collectively. And that something like unified physics has to come out, because it's a more mechanical way of how these spiritual concepts work. And I love this. I love teaching this. I love having the ability to teach this. And with the members at the ISF, you get access to kind of like how Einstein was in his time. All these physicists, even Newton, these are philosophers, even back to the Greek age. When they're going through what they're going through, they're outcasts. They're not really listened to that much. And it's so different than what everybody's been thinking and how the mainstream is. No one notices the genius and the insight they come across. That's where we are now. We get to meet with some of I've figured these things out. A lot of people figure these things out within and try to put pieces together, but we're actually meeting and talking with some of the most intelligently advanced minds in human history. Like, seriously, because they're incorporating everything that humans have learned so far, all of the philosophers, all of the physicists, and giving a template of how reality is now with all of that wisdom, and then unifying it. And it's beautiful. And I'm pretty sure we do that ourselves in our minds, but to be able to teach with it and be at the forefront of this and speak with these people and we actually run ideas on each other. Like Lee was talking about speaking with the biophysicists. We ask them questions, we speak to them, we can email them. If they're a little more busy now, but there were times where you could personally get in contact with them. And there will be a time where people like us, you guys, us, the scientists, will be revered and remembered as like a Newton or Einstein or a great philosopher or someone who has help the world in a loving way. Not doesn't necessarily have to be intellectually, just a guru, someone with a big heart. That's we're reaching a time where we can globally appreciate things like that, and that's what I teach, and how to activate our DNA and connect to this space memory network, because it's constantly communicating with us. We need to make sure our vessels, our bodies, and our energetic flows, how the design of the body is in prime health to interpret all of this data, constantly bombarding us. We're constantly communicating with it. Like we just saw in that video, the neural networks in our brains and our hearts are literally fractals of the small geometries at the foundation. If you scaled them up, they would look like the shapes of our neurons, very highly crystalline and crystallized structures that resonate with the information in that network without distortion. So if we keep our bodies without distortion and our minds without distortion, then we can communicate and encompass more of that consciousness, that wisdom, that love. It feels like love when you access it. So I don't know how much time I have, but that is the gist of it. And we all connect at the ISF in these ways. We all bring something different to the table, and we've already started to collaborate and unite. What word did you use, Lee? Unicity.
That we are, yeah, the word unicity, that state or condition of being unified.
We do have to move on, but I want to say, Nama, I am so impressed with that video. It is incredible. And I want to provide a few things. I did pop the download that you had sent me, and people, you need to
it's
download.
on the website.
But yeah, the best way is to go to the website. And
yeah.
his website, here it is. It's ageof11.com.
Yep, and it's already up at the website. That's content that I create, and that's there's more videos like that with spiritual concepts.
Wow.
Deeper spiritual concepts. But yep, so that if they could go to the website and not the video itself is kind of the copyrighted production, but
okay. So everybody can what I sent you, delete. But go to the website. And again, for everybody watching, I want to just say it slowly. It's ageof11, the number 11, ageof11.com. And I tell you, I know what I'm going to do tonight when the show's over. While I'm having dinner, I'm going to roll and look at all these amazing videos you've got. There
will be more content coming soon. I will have more videos, and also working with music. All this has to do with science and geometry, and these mathematics that Nassim is coming up with, and other people like Nassim. But unified physics and the member community is a good way for us to connect on these things.
Well, beautiful, and beautiful, beautiful work. And I love your enthusiasm and your vision for the future. It's a very positive vision, and that's what the show's all about. It is the awakening world, and you nailed it, Nama. So thank you so much.
I appreciate it, guys. Love you guys.
Much love to you too. All right, Lee, do you want to introduce your next guest?
Yes. Yeah. So just as, Nama's just brought to us the heights and beauty of what we can do with new technologies. The next person you're going to meet uses the technology. It's tried and true, and it's ancient. It's the human body. And this is Oriana Merici. And I've had the privilege of work with Oriana. Oriana, although she has a degree, so you're going to know she's a little brainy because she has a degree. biochemistry. She studied genetics and biophysics. But like all of us in this group, she is just completely fascinated and obsessed with the unified field, with the physics and the kind of work that Nassim's done. And she's actually known Nassim, or not next door neighbors, but met Nassim, worked with Nassim, and interacted with him for a very long time. So what she does is use her body as a vehicle to express and interact with the unseen world. So you're going to in for a really big treat tonight. She's going to actually do that a little bit later in the show. But right now, she's going to talk to us a little bit more about her experience with working with Nassim's work and her own work that she does through movement, which, boy, we just saw that from Nama, the movement of consciousness throughout the multiverse. So let's hear from you.
Well, thank you very much, Lee. That was beautiful, brainy. I don't know that I've been called that. I always think I'm pretty smart until I start talking to these genuine physicists, like trying to hold your own with Nassim or William Brown. Pretty amazing. And what I would really like to talk about more in depth is our membership, the community itself, and what that means to us. Because as you meet each of us, one thing that will really become obvious is that we come from very different backgrounds. And we each have a level of wisdom and some different professions and all kinds of different technical abilities, like Drew. It's amazing. And as we come together, we have one thing that really is what draws us. And not that we have to solve a problem or, how does this make our life better? It's that we're curious. We just want to know, like, whoa, what is that? We're willing to go beyond the idea of knowing to what's that unknown that we can explore. And so as we come together as members, that we have the opportunity to meet with William Brown does a science review once a month and gives us the update on what's the latest happening in their work at ISF. And then we have a Q&A with William and usually Dr. Inez Urandeta, that is one leading physicist on this project as well. And as Lee was describing earlier, we get to actually sit and talk with them. Like, wow, I can even ask my questions. Like, whoa. And in a way that is this dialogue where you feel a part of what is unfolding, that which wants to be known. Like the whole universe is really what is the intelligence that's making us aware, calling us in, bringing us together. We have a sense of collaboration and cooperation, and that coming together and bringing our vast experiences into not one just channel of information, but there's a merging of it, and that it deepens our own knowing, and it deepens our interconnectedness with the universe. So we have the ability within the setup of the membership, we have a community group, we have a Facebook group, we have different ways to communicate, and all of that. And what you will also be coming up to is what other offerings are being made available through our membership. So Dr. Kat Lewis, who is going to be coming up, will be able to really take us on a meditation that she offers once a week. That's available to the ISF members. And we thoroughly enjoy moving into this deeper feeling, pulsing aliveness that is that entering into the field that we're speaking to. And what we're going for is that visceral knowing, so that we have an intellectual understanding and knowing of it, but there's a deeper level of which you grok it. You just, oh, that's what it is. That's what it feels. And so along with Kat offering her wonderful meditations on Monday mornings, then I offer, once you realize there is a field and you can feel it, then I offer a vital well-being, which is a deeper dive into that well of being, the actual vortex that is the heart pulse, and everything that is well. Like, you know what it is when you're not well, but what does it feel to be well and be vital? Like the heart is a vital organ. What is it to be vital? Oh. And so we explore that deeper still. And then on Thursdays, I also then make available my teaching on remote viewing. And I'm a remote viewer from having trained for a year with a doctor in Seattle who trained with the military, which was prepare to receive target coordinates. But he would say, guessing the target was the booby prize. What we were trained to do is bilocate to the target. And so I'm showing people how this field that connects all of us is something that we can enter into, and all that interconnected energy, that all those protons, whoa, what if we begin to read them? A pulsing aliveness, a field of energy, virtual particles popping in and out of existence in a rhythmic pulsed pattern. Whoa, a rhythmic pulse pattern. Imagine sitting under a telegraph pole and hearing ba 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 ba, and recognizing suddenly, oh, something intelligent is being communicated. Ba 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 ba. And you have not quite any idea of what the rhythm means yet, but it's got to mean something. And so we have our puzzle ponderers that are putting the pieces of the puzzle together. So we find this underlying rhythmic pulsed pattern. And the Sunday offering is called the Time Crystal in the Heart. And it's literally that rhythmic pulsing pattern. And in science, a periodic repeating pattern is called a crystal. So DNA is considered a crystal. Quartz crystal has periodic repeating atom bonds. A crystal in time, they just discovered, as science was able to reproduce them in 2017, a very new project in which they discovered they have perpetual motion. Imagine a bell ringing from the beginning of time. Oh, what a great place for evolution to encode all the learning gained of all life in a pulsed rhythmic pattern. Whoa, what if we can feel this pulsed rhythmic pattern as it is unfurling, unfolding in a 0-point energy field? The entelechy of evolution. As an acorn has the entelechy to be an oak tree, where is oak tree-ness inside of a little nut? What? Whoa, where is that all encoded in such a way that it unfurls and unfolds in a periodic repeating pattern, a fractal unfurling, unfolding of life that is learning and feedback, feed forward. So we want to invite you into our membership. Be part of the club as we're exploring this together, and we're learning from each other as well as from the faculty, and that we're coming into knowing that this historic moment that really is at hand. And I met Nassim Actually, he's in Burning Man now, but I met him in Burning Man at his first and only since this time was about 14, 15 years ago. And I consequently did a weekend workshop with him, and there was just a few people then. He was unheard of. And I had the opportunity to have a longer conversation with him where he will often say, explore the outside, learn of the unified field, but go inside. Even if you only spend 5 minutes a day, go inside to find that point of most influence. Now, what he doesn't say is how to find it. So about that time, I was trained in movement form called continuum, the inner expression of movement, and went inward with it to find, feel, and follow what's that inner rhythmic pulse that is not yet there, here. Where is it? What is it? It's like you won't find butterfly wings if you dissect a caterpillar. And yet the urge to fly, whoa, a caterpillar curls into its own demise. Wow. So imagine that urge to quantum leap to a whole new evolution. That is what is upon us because of this unified field and the way that Nassim has been able to bring all the pieces together and language it in the realm of physics and mathematics. And what we as the community are doing is finding ways to language it in ways that are more easily and readily received by those who can feel, oh, there's a whole energy field, and whoa, and there's like, whoa, all the technology they're developing to tap into that. And I began to wonder, well, how would we directly tap into that energy source? All the energy that can be withdrawn from a cube of sugar. Whoa, what would it be to be able to step into that energy field that is permeating our physical form? And in that permeating our physical form, oh, what of that originating pattern is the archetypal pattern? Imagine for a moment that you have a unique thumbprint. Oh, you know which is you and which is me, and whoa, and everyone has a identifiable, unique print, and yet we all have a thumbprint. We all have an opposable thumb that unfurled and unfolds in utero to create that swirling pattern, and that swirling pattern is created, oh, in the flow of an interuterine experience. Whoa, my mother was picking blackberries just before I was born, but yours might have been hanging Christmas stockings or shoveling snow or who knows. All that unique experience, all that is felt from a one-celled organism in a cosmic ocean. Imagine where life is not, and then it exists. The moment, oh, the spirit enters into a physical form, one cell, unfurling, unfolding into a multi-cell being. One cell, 3.8 billion years of fossilized record, an archaea, the oldest form of a one-celled form of life. And 3.8 billion years later, we're multi-cell beings. One cell. And you do it in 9 months. Whoa, where's that unfurling, unfolding pattern, the rhythm of the archetype of unfolding from the moment, embodied into form, from formlessness? What's informing? a physical world. And what if we can bring in all the knowing that this shift in consciousness that we feel, we can bring that in with our intention of being in the future moment that is not yet here, and learn to feel it, sense it, be with it, move. Imagine being able to bilocate wherever you want. I need a car. Ooh, Uber? I'm teleporting to wherever I need. Oh, wait a minute, teleport? What if I have to beam me up, Scotty? Oh, wait, what if there's no pattern lock? What if I have to have my own pattern lock? What if I can learn that archetypal rhythmic unfurling, unfolding pattern that allows me to move into the field, dematerialize, rematerialize? And what if that advanced civilization that we reference as level 8 in infinity, all the way back to you, Jeffrey, the infinity, as level 8 is inside the 0 point. What? 1 point. Oh, there is only 1 point. Oh, inside of 1 dimension? Oh, no, a 0 point is unobservable until there's a second point, and it becomes a line of force, a line of first dimension, giving rise to form, a third dimension. So in all of that, 1 point is inside of all dimensions. Imagine now that we'll come back to knowing how this is played in the rhythmic patterns as we come to the beautiful Kat is going to take us through a meditation, and knowing that the membership is $20 a month, and we invite you to come in and play with us and unfurl and unfold a whole new way of learning, growing, collaborating, cooperating, being together, and making that quantum leap to that future that we know is meant to be, because that's where we're from. That evolved civilization that is infinite in its beingness. So as we come back in, and we'll have Kat take us into the meditation, and then I will come back in and take you into the visceral movement of it deeper still, where we'll go inside the vessel. So stay tuned for that as well, and we'll have a whole experience of what that possibility is.
Thank you, Oriana. And you couldn't see the chat because you were absorbed in sharing with us, but people were just loving the feeling of what you were giving us. It was really, really beautiful. So thank you.
Yeah. And there is a skill involved in being able to bilocate and get beyond what we can imagine we can do, but actually to be able to precognize what it is that the heart is communicating in sensory neurites that we're awakening, and the brain is recognizing what the heart already is capable of feeling, sensing, communicating.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I want to take a quick moment, since you were talking about membership, just to share with people one more time how to become a member. And it's very easy. Go to SpaceFed, that's SPACEFED, spacefed.com. And then right at the top bar, you'll see memberships. Click memberships, and that's how you can learn how to join all these amazing people, including Nassim. And there's a lot of different ways that you do it. So I encourage all of us to join tonight. And thank you very much. And of course, Oriana will be back in a few moments with the dance. But take it away, Lee, to introduce Dr. Kat.
Yeah. So, and I know this evening is flying by, and I want to introduce you to Kat. We call her Dr. Kat. She works in a lifestyle medicine format, but where we're with her a lot is in meditation. She actually offers a meditation to the membership community, and meditation is obviously, from my experience of knowing Kat, is a big part of her connection to the field. She loves the meditation. The meditation sort of like just move through her, and in our membership, whenever a subject comes up, Kat's the one to ask a lot of questions. and brings up but brings up a lot of good questions. She's very curious about the whole dynamic of how consciousness works, how it plays into our healing, because she has a business where she does that. But she's able to bring us to a point where we see it's beyond fixing something. It's more about integrating something that is, but at the highest multi-dimensional layers of our being. So you're in for a treat tonight, because she's going to take us into what I do call the multi-dimensional layers of consciousness that are always, and here's Oriana's words, unfurling and unfolding in consciousness as consciousness. So you're in for a really big treat. So please help me to welcome Dr. Kat Lewis.
Thank you, Lee. I'm so happy to be with you all, and I love participating in the chat and connecting with you. This community, like you see, is just wonderful. And like Nama said, I mean, we are talking to the smartest minds on the planet. I mean, the most brilliant people on the planet when we meet with the scientists at the International Space Federation. It is remarkable. And I think of us all, this entire, us and your community, all of us are like the characters in Lee's book, right? We're trying to figure it out. We're like the pioneers. So it's really exciting. And, what's really interesting is the image that Nama showed in his, it was Luke that showed the image of the spark, how what Nassim is doing there is he's sparking the field. And that energy, that 10 to the 93 or whatever it is grams per centimeter cubed, that in one sugar cube volume of space, that's all around us, and it's inside of every single one of our cells or protons. And what he created is technology to tap into it, and that's all we have to do too, is like put our attention on it, and we tap into it. So I'm going to lead you on a meditation, because this field is the source of everything. This unified field that we think is empty is the source of everything. It's where mind and matter meet, and it's what's creating you. It's you, actually. We think we're the physical body, but we're really the entire field. And so in order to access or know ourselves as that, we need to play around with it. We need to experience it. And so I'm going to have you expand your sense of yourself into the field. But before I do that, I'm going to share a little story with you about how I came into the unified or into Nassim's, the ISF community. And I also just want to explain too that when I start the meditation, I'm going to take you into it. And then at some point, Oriana is going to come in. So I don't want you necessarily to open your eyes when that happens, unless, Oriana, do you want them to open their eyes? Wait, you're muted. Oh, you can't speak. Do you want them to open their eyes? Yes. Okay. She does. Sorry. All right. And I guess it doesn't really matter. Okay. So at some point, Oriana is going to come in and take over from there. Okay. So I just want to share a little bit about my story and then how I use this information. And I'll try to go fast because I know it's already been, a long evening. Hopefully it doesn't feel that long. But in 2018, after studying, Seth material, studying the Vedic science of consciousness, Vedanta, which uses the unexamined logic of your experience to show you that you are not the physical body, but you are consciousness. So you actually get a felt experience of this. And so I was studying that for years. I was studying Paramahansa Yogananda. I read the Seth books. I read the life and teachings of the masters of the Far East. So these were all the materials that were really influencing me. And I was also practicing and teaching Kundalini Yoga. And what that was doing was really de-stressing. All of these things together was really de-stressing my nervous system. And that was allowing me to experience reality differently. It was also changing the way I understood myself. And it's really interesting because, you know, how we experience the world is determined by who we believe ourselves to be and what we believe reality to be. Oh, what was that? Okay. So they want the reading list. Okay, I'll put it in there later. Okay, so in 2018, after having experienced, done all of those things, I had a sudden and an instantaneous and spontaneous healing experience where my whole body just blew up into light. And some would call it a Kundalini rising experience. Some might even say a near-death experience. I actually thought I was dying. But what happened was all of a sudden I felt weightless. It was a quiet night at home with my daughter and my partner at the time. And I was laying down next to her, and all of a sudden I felt weightless. And as I looked, my head felt very, very light, like it wasn't even there anymore. It felt like the space. And I looked out, I kind of looked out, and I saw that the whole room was like moving. It was like light suspended in space. And so I sat up and I was looking out into the room, and I could see everything was like, lifted and not as dense as it normally feels. The material objects in the room was not as dense. There was even some texture to space. And I was like so confused. But because my head felt so light and the rest of my body felt light, I was like, am I having a stroke? And so I stood up and I looked at my arms and I could see them, but they were just at one with the space. They did not feel any different than the space. It was like I was like two little eyes sticking out of space. And it was like, I felt myself leaving the physical body, and I was seeing the room, the material objects in the room dissolve, like a dream dissolves when you're waking up slowly from a dream. And at that point I thought, oh God, I'm dying. I thought I was dying, but there was no pain. There was absolutely no pain. Anyway, I won't go into all the details, but at some point I felt like I had to vomit. And at this point I'm thinking, okay, this is really a stroke, but it turned out not to be. Obviously I'm still here. Well, not obviously, because I could have had a stroke, but I didn't. But anyway, so I let myself throw up. But what that was the energy rising up, but I didn't know it. Okay. So the energy was rising up and I threw up, and I was like, okay, I'm still here. And I go, let's move into the other room. And so I got up and I was walking down the hall, and all of a sudden I felt this like rush of like liquid electric energy, and it just shot out from my heart, like my chest, my center, and it like filled my entire body. And I just turned into light. Every single particle of my being, the blood, the bones, the tendons, everything felt like light. I felt like I was a light being, and I could swing my arms all the way back. I can't do it now, but I could swing them all the way back. They could touch, my legs could go right up in front of me. And, so one moment I'm thinking I'm dying, and the next moment I feel like a light being. And I was like, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God. I thought God just saved me. I thought I had a spontaneous healing event. And then I thought, is this how we're supposed to feel? I was like, oh my God. And there was just light. It was just light. And I could take in enormous amounts of air, and I could feel the air come in. It was like pure life force energy. It was like clean, pristine light coming into my body, and I could feel it going all the way down to my toes. And I was like, oh my God, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God, over and over and over again. And samadhi. And so what happened was I had Hashimoto's that disappeared. I had a shoulder injury where I could barely lift my arm up for like 2 years. And I couldn't even turn a door handle. That was gone. Like instantaneously, everything healed, because no disease can exist in that light. no disease can exist in that light. So the more we know ourselves as this, the more we know ourselves as this field of energy, the more we will experience that kind of feeling. And after that, I could feel energy. It uncovered, this ability to feel energy. I was walking down the sidewalks and everything was bouncing. And I could feel waves in this empty space that we know is not empty. I could feel it. And I could feel people's heart energy. If I led a meditation group, as soon as they close their eyes, I had them drop into their heart, I'd feel this energy just go out. And I now know that that's the vacuum, that's the scalar field. And so I was feeling all these things, but no one could explain it to me. I couldn't find anyone who could explain it to me. I got a huge book on Kundalini rising, did not understand it. And so anyway, that set me on the journey of trying to figure it out. And I found someone who I worked with for 4 years. He's an amazing man. His name is Lincoln Gurgar. He's on YouTube. He has an amazing YouTube channel. He does spiritual heart meditations. And so with him, every week for, every day really for years, I studied with him and I went deep and deep and deep into my heart. And what we're doing when we do that is we're going into the different layers of our mind. And so I started to understand how reality was created. And I wanted to explain it to people, and I wanted to share that in a book, but I was like, who's going to believe me? This is just my own experience. I need the science to validate my experience. And that's how I found Nassim. And as I sat and listened to a number of his events, I was so overjoyed that the science was explaining my experience. I couldn't believe it. So that's how I came to the group. And I just showed up and started attending the group, the breakout sessions on Wednesdays, and listening to, the Q&As with the scientist. And, Oriana and everybody else is right in that we get to sit with these amazing, the most brilliant minds on the planet and ask them questions. And they're really excited about educating people because they know that that's how we're all going to lift. But that's also a sign, like that experience is also a sign of how everyone's consciousness is changing, and we're all going to lift really fast. So I use this information in the work that I do because for me, having that experience and understanding that no disease can exist in that light, I can't do what I do without sharing that information. So I teach people how to create more and more coherence with this field. And that it's, one is the biggest way is to immerse yourself in it, consciously bring your attention to it every single day. But there's other ways in terms of diet and lifestyle practices that you can do. So let's go into it. And, there's a story in Vedanta about why this works. So it's the yellow, it's the shirt, there's a t-shirt in the yellow dye. So if you dip a white t-shirt in a yellow dye and then take it out, it's going to have some yellow on it, but over time it'll fade. But if you keep dipping it in the yellow dye, eventually the white t-shirt will be a yellow t-shirt. So we need to keep dipping ourselves into the field, making a conscious effort to connect with the field, because it is the source of all knowledge. It is the source of the material, the physical body, all energy, all knowledge. And so when you keep dipping yourself into it, you get that. It fuels your body. You will become wiser. You'll know information that you didn't read somewhere. You'll just know it because the field is the mind of the universe, and you're connecting to it. Okay, so after all that, let's go ahead, and I'm going to start with some breath work, and then I'm going to have you experience the field, experience expand your awareness of who you are. We're not the physical body. We are this field around us, and the physical body is crystallizing inside that field. So that's going to be my goal. I'm really going to have you go into your heart, and I'm also going to have you focus. I'm going to say the word sense and feel a lot, because when you're sensing and feeling, you're not thinking. So you move out of space-time, out of the physical reality. They're all laid on top of each other, right? But you move out of space-time. That's where your thoughts are. They're in space-time. when you bring your awareness down into your heart and sense and feel the field around you, you're moving out of the physical world into the subtle realm, and there's no thoughts there. Okay. So focus on sensing and feeling. You're going to you're going to ignite these inner senses. And that's the way the soul communicates, is through senses. The human talks, or the mind thinks, and the soul communicates through feeling. Okay. So go ahead and sit up tall. Is my volume okay?
Yes. And Kat, I want to tell you, feel free to take your time with this meditation.
Okay.
You know, sometimes guests feel like, oh my God, I'm past my time. Forget the time. We can stay till midnight. I want you to, you know, really go at whatever pace is really going to allow us to drop in with you.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Okay, so I'm going to do some breath work first because that really helps people expand, get into that expanded state. And this is a 3-part breath. For those of you that if you find it difficult, then just do one long inhale and then an exhale, and try to make the exhale and the inhale, try not to have too much space between them. Okay. So you want to you're going to inhale and then exhale, but the 3-part breath goes like this. You're going to inhale, fill the belly, inhale, feel the chest, and you really want to fill the chest all the way up to here. Okay. And then exhale. So sit up tall, close your eyes. And automatically bring your awareness down into your heart. So just let your awareness descend down into the center of your chest. And just arrive into the present moment. So breathe in and out of the center of the chest at first. So just allow yourself to imagine that the breath is coming in through into the heart and then out of the heart. And let your brain relax. And let your eyeballs fall back from the eyelids. These 2 things will help your mind relax. Just a few more breaths like this, and then we'll begin the breath work. So now after your next exhale, I want you to inhale, fill the belly, inhale, fill the chest, exhale. Inhale belly, inhale chest, exhale. Inhale belly, inhale chest, exhale. Inhale belly, inhale chest, exhale. Keep going. Do it at your own, do it at that pace that I was going at. Try to really feel the back of your lungs. Let the feeling of yourself expand so that it's like you're a balloon and you're expanding in all directions. Make them deep. You are always in control. So if you need to slow down, you can. Yawning is a sign of your nervous system unwinding. So it's okay to yawn. Keep going. Ten more, go. Make them deep. Last one, inhale and hold it at the top. So think of bringing the energy from your lower body up into your brain. So grabbing the energy from your root chakra and carrying it all the way up into the brain, and then squeezing your pelvic floor, pulling your navel back, and then focusing your attention in the center of the brain. Feel yourself expand. Hold the breath. If you need to take a little bit of air in, you can sip some air in and then hold. Exhale. Hold the breath out at the bottom of the exhale, so you stay empty. And then go ahead and we're going to repeat this again. Inhale belly, inhale chest, exhale. Inhale belly, inhale chest, exhale. Inhale belly, inhale chest, exhale. Keep going. Let your brain relax. So you want to expand above your head and all around you, but also down below the feet. So you're expanding in all directions. Five more. Make them strong. Last one, inhale, hold it at the top. Pull your navel back. Squeeze your pelvic floor like you're trying to prevent from peeing, from urinating. And then focus your attention in the center of the brain. And just set your intention on focusing on the pineal gland. You're holding your breath. Your attention is in the center of the brain. Focus on setting your intention for the pineal gland and that you want it to secrete. Sip some air in if you need to. Exhale. Hold the breath out at the bottom. Just relax and hold the breath out. Stay empty. Now return your breath back to normal. And just feel yourself expand in all directions. Feel the center of your chest. And then feel all around you. It's like you're trying to feel and touch the space. It's like you're curious about it. But let the mind relax. Each one of us is like a wave on the ocean of consciousness. You're an individual consciousness on this ocean of consciousness, and you're letting yourself merge back into the ocean. So let your thinking mind relax. Let the brain relax and pull away from the skull, and let the eyeballs fall back from the eyelids, and sense and feel the space all around you. You are this entire field. Notice what happens when you center at your heart and you feel yourself expand out. Do you feel more whole and complete? Do you feel more like you? Keep sensing, keep feeling, and let yourself melt into the field. Become one with the field. Let the field enter every single one of your cells. Become aware of yourself as awareness. And on a moment-to-moment basis, stay aware of yourself as awareness. As you do this, let your heart shine. Imagine the sun is radiating from your chest in all directions, behind you, to the sides of you, in front of you, above you, and below you. Shine as bright as the sun. In this state, you are creating coherence with the field. The more coherence you create with the field, the more health in your physical body. Notice as you shine brighter, what happens to your thoughts. Just radiate from the chest and notice what happens to the thoughts. Are they quiet? Notice what happens to your emotions. Are they still? And notice what happens to the physical body. Is it relaxed? When you are connected to the field, you are in love. The field feels like love. And when you're in love, there is no fear. So radiate like the heart, like the sun from the heart. Shine. This is you. This is your true self without the belief systems that get in your way. From this point, you can see those belief systems more clearly. Find any place in your body that needs to be relaxed a little bit more. And as you radiate from the heart, bring your awareness down to that spot in your body and let the light from your heart shine into that spot to break it up. This scalar field you are emitting from your heart is what recharges your cells and brings your body back into alignment with this natural self of yours, the heart, the light shining from your heart. This is your true self. So stay feeling the field. Stay in this expanded state. Feel yourself expand like a balloon in all directions. Notice how you feel. Can you remember to do this throughout your day? Can you remember when you're experiencing a negative emotion or a belief system that's draining your energy? Can you remember to shine like this? When you are in this state, a higher perspective will come to you, and you'll be better able to address what it is you need to address from a higher, wiser perspective. So keep shining your light. Remember to do this. See yourself doing it throughout the day. Right now, see yourself doing it throughout your day. When we are in this state, we have a lot of influence over the whole globe. We are connected to each other. All of us, everyone in the universe is connected by the heart. greatest gift we can give to humanity is being in our hearts and sending love everywhere. So remember to shine from your heart. And then shine that light on any part of your body that needs healing. Shine it on the belief systems that need to be realigned. Stay in this expanded state, and Oriana is going to take over.
Ah, 2 ears hear the resonating frequency of sound, waves interpreted as sound, a tympanic membrane pulsed, a rhythmic pattern recognizing sound. Ah. A tympanic membrane, the first sensory organ to form as a uterine embryo develops. Whoa, the heart is the first organ to form. What informs the heart in the heart of the heart of the heart? Whoa, one heart. Imagine being drawn in to the heart of the matter. Whoa, what would it be as you feel into being drawn in, whoa, inside, where all moving is moving, deeper still. What? All that is expanding out is simultaneously moving deeper still. Imagine following that point. The point, the 0 point. Whoa, imagine at the center of a 0 point is a point inside of a point inside of a, wow, what if it feels like falling, whoa, inside a singularity, only one, inside one heart. Whose heart? Whoever has one heart. Whoa. How do you make one heart beat the first time? Imagine one singularity, one point that holds infinity. On the other side of the universe, the inside. How would inside hold all that is outside, as all that is outside is turning in, turning out? Outside in, inside out, in all a rhythmic pulse pattern, communicating a rhythmic, non-linear language. Imagine all the music that Omashar has ever made, all the instruments he's ever played, all that music has one thing in common: the rest in between the notes. The rest is all the same rest, where music is not played. Imagine all that is not played, is the rhythm, the other side of the symphony that holds all the music of the spheres. And imagine that point inside the heart of the heart of the heart, drawing you in. And imagine Omashar. Can music, that movement in. Thank you all for journeying with us.
We'll go to gallery view, everybody, and let's send some twinkles to Oriana for the dance and that amazing meditation by Dr. Kat. Absolutely exquisite. And I'm going to bring all of our guests back on as we kind of come close to conclusion. You all just rocked it. Absolutely rocked it. Let's all just send lots of love and twinkles and appreciation to all 6 of these amazing members of the International Space Federation community. The videos, the dance, the meditation, the explanation, the arc crystals, all that we've learned tonight has been absolutely extraordinary. And I know a lot of you have mentioned already that you've joined. Oh, you know, because Kat went straight into music, I want to just let people know that she's got a YouTube channel. So go to YouTube and put in Kat, spelled K-A-T, Lewis, PhD. And look at this, all these amazing things. Mushroom Journey Revelation. The source of all disease, aging, and war. And a whole lot more. So definitely you can get more Kat by going to her website, or her YouTube channel, I should say. And one more time, to join the ISF community, go to spacefed.com, spacefed.com. And then up top, just click memberships. There it is. You can join these amazing people. Are there any last thoughts or comments that any of you would like to share before we go to our closing song from Omushar?
I just want to say thank you, Scott, for, as always, being such an incredible host, for allowing us to come in tonight. Thank you to every single person, whether you're here, whether you went the course with us throughout the whole night or watching it on a replay, or if you're on some other platform. We love you. We appreciate you. We welcome you to join us at ISF in the membership site, or we'll just meet you in the field. We're all there together. So we'll see you, but this time we'll give you a little wink and a nod to say hello.
We'll see you in LA on September.
Yeah, and anybody who can come to LA, please do so.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Hey, this is historic. If you get a chance, wow, be there with Nassim on September 14th. You'll be part of history.
Beautiful. And I will put everybody's little bio, websites, emails, phone numbers into the chat box one more time while Omushar is playing. But hopefully all of you are going to move and groove to the music. I know it's a little bit later than usual for a Wednesday night, but it's been a fantastic evening. Absolutely terrific. And here is our beloved brother Omushar.
Don't worry, don't worry, and I love you more than you could know. So come along now and lay your head on my heart, on my heart. Close your eyes, dear, and rest a while in me. Open your heart and let in the sun. Bathe yourself in the garden of one. Know you're at home and in my embrace. Here is divine space. Here is empty space. Now I ask you to take a step towards me, toward me. I can feel your longing to be home. So come along now and lay your heart on my, your head on my heart. Close your eyes, dear, and rest a while in me. And keep open your heart and let in the sun. Bathe yourself in the garden of one. Know you're at home and in my embrace. There is empty space. There is empty space. And I love you more than you could know. So keep open your heart and let in the sun. Bathe yourself in the garden of one. Know you're at home and in my embrace. There is divine grace. There is divine grace. There is empty space. I love your crystal placement, Noah. Super
Wow.
touched.
What an amazing evening. And don't go away, everybody, because I do have an important announcement. But again, thank you, everybody, for moving and grooving and moving to the music. Omashar, I got to ask you, what stood out for you and all the amazing things tonight? What stood out for you?
It's just the perfection of all the information that's coming in. And all roads lead to Rome. And I've worked a lot with several amazing masters, and I always used to get frustrated because they would be giving me all this scientific information, and I didn't at the time realize that it was all pointing to the same place, all pointing to the heart. And so I came in from the spiritual angle. And I've got my heart open and my consciousness kind of rosy. But really, it's this information which has brought it home to me that it can actually be fully embodied. And I'm not out there on woo-woo anymore. I'm just fully grounded. So I think the greatest thing that I've gained from this evening is grounding it all. And, we've been exposed, many of us, to this information for many decades from very different angles. And it's all coming together, science and spirituality. And as Nama showed, we can actually visualize that which is being talked about, which takes away any woo-woo and takes away that is too wordy. It's just amazing. And so that is mine for now, Scott. So thank you so much, Jeffrey, for bringing this to our attention. And it is grist for the mill beyond, to infinity and beyond. So thank you. Thank you, Mariana, and Kat, and Nama, and Lee. Wow, what a
And thank-
family we are.
Yeah, thank you, Scott and Omashar. I mean, thank you so much for having us on. This has been so fun, and your community, I can just feel the love. It's so beautiful.
Kat, something I've got to mention to you. The books you mentioned were the exact same books that when I was a teenager and in my early 20s woke me up. The Nature of Personal Reality, the Seth Speaks book, which is like, that's like the Bible of Seth.
Yes.
Autobiography of a Yogi.
Yes.
Yogananda is still my master teacher.
Ah,
And it was amazing. It was like, oh my God, that's exactly the ones. Oh, and the teachings of the Far East Master.
oh, that was amazing.
And that's like a pretty, not that many people know that one. you
Yeah,
know?
that's amazing.
So it
Read
was
those
like-
if you can. They're amazing.
Absolutely. So
There's also the Tao, according to Winnie the Pooh. That's a good one.
now listen, I've got a really important announcement for everybody. Stay up and we'll say goodbye to you one more time. But this Saturday night, what we're going to do is the show that we did, the fundraising event that we did for Piper, really was one of the most incredible Global Peace Tribe shows that we've done. You know, I've done about 600 of these now, and about 500 of them with beloved Omashar. And honestly, the fundraiser we did was one of my 5 favorite shows of all time. But a lot of people weren't able to watch it because it was the same night as the Democratic National Convention and the same night that Kamala Harris made her acceptance speech. A lot of people were watching that. So on Saturday night, we're going to show the highlights of the Piper Dellums fundraiser. And we're going to add some additional fun new things, new songs by Omashar, and I'm arranging some other special experiences, but it's still going to be celebrating Piper and raising money for Piper. And what's amazing is an anonymous donor is matching our donations dollar for dollar. Last week we raised about $5,000, so with that match that makes it 10,000, and we still want to get more people. So I'm asking all of you, please not only come back on Saturday night, invite people. It's going to be a great show. Music from Omashar, Gary Melkin, Christian Hoffman, poetry from Charles Gibbs, dance, really beautiful, amazing things going on. It is a special Zoom room link. It's not the regular one we do for Saturday nights because I want to open it up to everybody in the public. So I've put the link into the chat box, the invitation. Please copy that. Also, you know, maybe copy the poster, which I also put into the chat box. Copy these, and please, let's really invite friends, invite family. It's a great way to introduce people to the awakening world. And also it'll be a chance for us to continue our support for Piper Dellums.
And it's free to everybody without
Yes.
registering. They can just come straight in, so there's no difficulty.
Yeah, just come right in. So let's make it a really packed night. And I'm going to do extra promotion, extra marketing, but I need all of your help because all of you know people I don't. So let's really make it a special night. All right, thank you one last time. I'm going to go to gallery view. Thank you to those of you who are still with us. Jerry Anderson, you know, it's gotten kind of late, but I do want to give Jerry and maybe Connie to share a little bit briefly about Earthstock, because of course we did a big promotion for the Earthstock Festival that happened last week. And how is your internet there, Jerry? Because you look frozen.
Oh, I don't know. Can you see me? Is it
Yes.
okay?
I always see your edge. You're completely frozen, but there you are. You're
Okay.
now.
Okay, I would just say it was a very profound summit. And you know, the crazy thing that happens at summits isn't quite often the presentations, but being able to interconnect and relate with many people from around the world that are doing the same thing as you. And it was so profound that every single day during the Earthstock Summit, we had rainbows. Some days we had 2 rainbows in one day. Sometimes 2 days we had double rainbows in the same day. We had the elders from Brazil to Bolivia, Mexico, Canada. And so I think we had somewhere around 30 or 40 elders, including the ones that were local to the area there. So we had many ceremonies. We had giant fire ceremonies. We had a cacao ceremony where we all drank the chocolate from the native style. And we ended on Sunday with the most amazing drumming from the Japanese with the huge big drums to the
Wow.
kettle drum of the native tribes and so forth. So we had amazing drummings there, and it was a profound ceremony, like I said, and the connections to new people were wonderful. And Connie and Andrew were there also from the Global Peace Tribe.
Well, I will bring up Connie. Connie, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, it was just such a frequency thing. It was a gathering of people we'd known for 10 or 15 years coming together, elders and new people, and it was just such a heartfelt gathering, which I saw 30 years ago, that everyone in their hearts are going to be connected all over the world on deep levels of interconnectedness, and I called it the Good Guy Network. And this was a gathering of the Good Guy Network. It was extraordinary. So it was great, a great time.
Great. Well, I'm glad that both of you were, and Andrew as well, were there to represent the Global Peace Tribe. And I send you so much love. And going to go last time to gallery view. Thank you, everybody, for being with us. Let's really make Saturday night a big success. Much love. Have a wonderful few days. And again, thank you to our international space community family. Thank you for two tribes coming together tonight. Very, very beautiful. And big thank you, especially to you, Reverend Jeffrey, for making it happen.